Hi, well, this week's blog is coming from Krakow International Airport because unfortunately I won't be home in time to get it out to you otherwise. So I'm going to catch you up on what's been going on over the last week. Really interesting stuff. Went to the UK Champs at Hayfield first of all. Really like Hayfield. I think it's probably one of my favourite fisheries to go to. I think it's got fantastic big lakes, really looks fantastic. The fishing's very good, lots of fish in the lakes. I always think, you know, if I could pick a lake to have, it'd probably be somewhere like Hayfield. I really do think it's a great place. They're nice and deep, which poses a challenge on its own. You don't know what depth the fish are going to be at, so you've got a lot of things to take on board. Now, the match itself was 1 till 6, and a little bit of a disaster for me on the first round of the UK Championships at the Glebe. Was on a very poor peg on Pretty's pool, didn't catch anything really, and it was a bit of a poor round, so I was hoping for a bit of a recovery. I drew peg 54 on Island Lake, and great friend of mine, Oliver Scott, knows the place like the back of his hand, and he was not enthusiastic about it. Something along the lines of, "I really feel for you, that's a shocker." Obviously, I like to have a little bit more enthusiasm than that, so I decided to go to my peg buzzing. I was just off the island, so I had nowhere to cast to the island, and also the peg starts to sort of angle out, and the problem with that is it means it's really difficult to, you're not on the point, you're not in the bay, you're sort of in between, and as a result, I don't think a lot of fish hold there. So I was hoping, because we were fishing 1 till 6, some fish would come on, but to be honest, it was a complete disaster. After 3 hours, I was blanking. I caught 2 carp in 2 casts on a waggler, and then I caught 1 carp with about 10 minutes to go. I tried long pole on the bottom, short pole on the bottom, shallow with long pole, deeper shallow, waggler at all different depths, bomb method, in the margins. I gave everything a little bit of time just to try and find somewhere where there was a fish. I really persevered on long pole on the bottom, which is something that I have found has been a fantastic way of fishing there, and also had some great info about it from Alan and Oliver. Unfortunately, there just wasn't any fish feeding, and I had to suck it up. I was last in my section, so 2 lasts in the UK Championships, and my fishing this year has been really good. You know, catching loads of fish, qualifying for competitions there, here and there, and it's been fantastic, and I can't complain at all, apart from 2 matches in the UK Championship. So it just goes to show that these things do happen from time to time. So I was just had to suck it up. Moving on, I've then sort of, to get over it if you like, I've come to Poland to visit a really good friend of mine, Adam Nimitz from, he lived near Warsaw. He's been in the Polish national team for the float team. He's a brilliant angler, absolutely fantastic. He was ranked top 10 in the world for a long time, so really good angler, and he's a great guy. So it's nice to come and visit him, someone I've got on with really well, and we go and do some nice things. We went on Saturday to this big lake that holds some massive fish, and last year we caught some nice carp there on pellet waggler, and we caught some nice sturgeon on a short pole up to about 10 kilos, but he did tell me that this year they were a bit bigger. So we sort of come up with a bit of a plan really. We fished with method feeder and pellet waggler at about 30 meters to try and catch carp or anything else that swims. There's loads of tench and carasio in there, which is lovely, and that was really good. But short pole is an area that isn't targeted there. A lot of specimen anglers fish there, and they fish out into the middle. So what we did was we mixed up a very soft, sloppy mix with Sonobait Super Crush Expander and some micro pellets, made it really sloppy, threw it in to create a big cloud, and then fish paste over the top, just because we felt like these sturgeon might be feeding on these sort of fish. And the results were unbelievable. They tell us that people catch 2 or 3 sturgeon on a visit. Well, we had 25 fish. I had one 63 pound 9 ounces. I had one 55 pound 10 ounces. I had 4 or 5 big 40 pound fish. So really was incredible. And the smallest one was probably 20 pound, which is just ridiculously good fishing. A couple on the method as well, and a few carp in and around the I had one 21 pound carp as well, and several carp sort of like 10, 11, 12 pound, just to keep you interested. So phenomenal day there. We sort of had 24 hours from lunchtime to lunchtime, but we didn't fish during the night. Really interesting. You see there actually my arm is all cut from the sturgeon. When you try to hold them, they're really rough. You get to get in the water. It was a fantastic experience, and something, you know, I would recommend if anyone wants to go. It could be so easy to go there. The day ticket there is really cheap, you know, and I think if you sorted some equipment out or something like that, even to hire, you could have a fantastic time there for a couple of days. So might be worth thinking about. It's only an hour and a half from Warsaw, so it was great. And then we went up into the mountains, into the southeastern corner of Poland, about 2.5 hours east of Krakow, and we fished for a fish called Naza. Now, these are an incredible fish. They're hard to explain, like a bit like an eye, look like an eye, but they've got this really flat-bottomed mouth with a sharp edge along the bottom. Bit of an announcement in the airport. And they feed on ground bait really heavily, and along with vimber and chub. And we waded out into the water, sort of like mid-depth up to my waist, and then fished with 4 or 5 gram bolo floats, running them through, easing them through, catching these really big fish. Absolutely incredible. I mean, they fight like barbel when you hook them. They're really solid in the flow. They head upstream, and on a 6-meter bolo rod, to be honest, it was magical. I enjoyed that more than the sturgeon because, you know, it's nice to fish on a lake, but river's always where my heart is. So really great fishing there, and a really fantastic trip. Absolutely and utterly loved it. Nice little catch up from this week. Next week I'm off to the River Yare for 2 days, open match on Saturday and the Feeder Masters qualifier on the Sunday. Cannot wait. That's home from home for me, half an hour from where I grew up. Absolutely love the place, love to get back there. Really looking forward to it this weekend. So catch up next week and I'll tell you all about the River Yare. Cheers for watching.